President Park Geun-hye pledges to invigorate Korea's regional economies in a bid to boost the nation's overall growth. Korea's parliamentary audit remains at a standstill, with the ruling Saenuri Party demanding the National Assembly Speaker resign over his failure to stay politically neutral. And sources say OPEC has agreed to cut oil output for the first time since 2008, a long-awaited move to alleviate the global supply glut. These stories and more coming right up. Hello and welcome to our newscast. It's Thursday, September 29th here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. We start off at the National Assembly. The ruling Saenuri Party is digging its heels in, insisting its lawmakers will only resume normal parliamentary affairs when Assembly Speaker Chung Se-kyun steps down. They accuse him of siding with the opposition parties over their decision to pass a dismissal motion against a government minister. Ji Myung-gil starts us off.
The ruling Saenuri Party was adamant on Wednesday that it will continue to boycott parliamentary business.
Unless the Assembly Speaker resigns, we will not rejoin the parliamentary audit.
During a general meeting, all lawmakers of the Conservative Party decided to continue boycotting the audit, despite Saenuri Chair Lee Jung-yeon's request to other party members to rejoin the parliamentary audit. Ruling party lawmakers also decided to take turns in staging a hunger strike that the Saenuri chair is undergoing since Monday. The ruling party accuses Assembly Speaker Chung Se-kyun of abandoning his political neutrality by helping the opposition parties pass a dismissal motion for President Park Geun-hye's nomination of Kim Jae-soo as Agriculture Minister last week. Kim has been under fire for alleged ethical lapses, including questionable real estate transactions. The opposition parties regretted how Saenuri Party lawmakers chose to not follow their own chair's decision.
It is a great disappointment, as we were expecting to see the ruling party participate in the audit session. We urge them to rejoin the audit. The Minju Party of Korea wants to work.
The minor opposition People's Party echoed Minju Party's stance and urged Saenuri's chair to stop the hunger strike in order to normalize parliamentary affairs. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
President Park Geun-hye has been highlighting her government's key policy drives for future-oriented growth. She was speaking Wednesday at an expo just north of Seoul that aims to showcase growth models from each region. Song Ji-san reports.
If you want to know which region is fostering which industry in Korea, the Korea Regional Hope Expo, which kicked off on Wednesday, is the place to be. The regions exhibited their best practices, products, and blueprints for the future, centered around their strategic industries. And with the nation's 17 innovation centers now up and running, a massive job fair will also be held across the country in tandem with the expo.
올해의 전시 주제는 지역 발전의 패러다임을 사칙 연산으로 압축해서 보여주고 있습니다. 청년들의 간절한 염원인 일자리는 더하고 지역 경제의 발전을 가로막는 규제는 빼고 각 지역에 활력을 불어넣는 창조 경제는 곱하고 지역 주민들의 삶의 질을 높이는 희망은 나누는 것입니다.
Seeking greater synergy between the administration's two key policy drives, the creative economy and cultural prosperity, President Park also encouraged provincial governors to create cultural content tailored to their regions to further boost the local economy.
우리나라는 세계 어느 나라에 내놓아도 뒤지지 않는 유구한 역사와 독특하고 훌륭한 문화유산을 보유하고 있습니다. 이러한 각 지역의 문화 자산의 스토리를 가미하고 ICT를 결합해서 혁신적 사업 모델을 개발하면 무한한 부가가치를 창출하고 좋은 일자리를 많이 만들 수가 있습니다.
President Park said that having a creative strategy customized to each region is the way to survive and take a leading position in the fourth industrial revolution, and that innovation, deregulation, and restructuring are the keys to success. 송지선, Arirang News.
Korea's anti-corruption law went into effect yesterday. The new law is keeping millions of people on their toes and stoking concerns about its effect on domestic consumption. But advocates of the new law say the changes should bring about improvements down the line. Shin Se-min tells us why.
It's the most extensive anti-corruption measure ever imposed by the government. Commonly known as the Kim Young-lan Act, the improper solicitation and graft law targets some 4 million government officials, teachers, journalists, and their spouses. The law is commonly known by its 3, 5, 10 price cap. If caught being treated to a meal over 30,000 won, gifts over 50,000, and cash gifts for weddings and funerals over 100,000 won, those subject to the law will face criminal penalties. It's the first lunch break with the anti-graft law in place, and already around these government offices, a number of public officials are either opting for a cheaper option for lunch or deciding to go Dutch. With such heavy punishments in place, some are concerned about the consequences, but many also welcome the move.
People will be more at ease, and I hope to see the law put its roots down so things are easier and established by the time my grandchildren start going to school.
It was something we had to eradicate from society, but I really hope the economic burden on restaurants and the service sector isn't too great.
That same burden is also of concern to many others. Korea Economic Research Institute estimates that the local economy will face losses of some $10.6 billion. And Korea Rural Economy Institute says the agriculture and fisheries industries may see sales tumble by over $820 million each year. But economists say when you look at the bigger picture,
If Korea's corruption perceptions index nears the OECD average, the country will see an annual 0.2 percentage point improvement in economic growth.
currently that index for Korea is at 56 points, while the OECD average at 67.2. And as the law takes effect, hopes are high that the first aggressive step towards uprooting bribery and corruption will eventually help create a more transparent society with more robust economic potential. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
A local court has rejected the prosecution's request for an arrest warrant against the embattled chief of Korean retail giant Lotte Group. The Seoul Central District Court turned it down early today, saying it did not believe it was necessary to detain the 61-year-old chairman Shin Dong-bin. Prosecutors accuse Shin of embezzlement and breach of trust. They say Shin orchestrated a series of shady deals and gave multi-million-dollar stipends to extended family members who are just listed as nominal board members. Following the court's ruling, prosecutors are considering whether to seek another arrest warrant or to request Shin be arrested without physical detention. In a surprise move, OPEC has agreed to cut oil production for the first time in 8 years after 2 days of round-the-clock talks in Algiers. Reuters cites two sources within OPEC as saying the cartel would collectively reduce its oil output to 32.5 million barrels a day from the current 33.24 million. Despite the understanding on the need for an output cut, OPEC will not finalize a plan until November. Oil prices surged upon news of OPEC's decision. Brent crude spiked almost 6%, nearing $49 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate jumped 5.4% to slightly over $47, its highest point in 3 weeks. The United States is pressing countries around the world to downgrade or sever their diplomatic and economic relations with North Korea. Speaking at a U.S. Senate committee hearing in Washington on Wednesday, Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel Russel said U.S. embassies are urging other countries to condemn North Korea's recent nuclear test and take additional actions to pressure the regime. Russell added as of last Sunday, 75 countries have denounced the test and several others have canceled or downgraded planned meetings or visits with North Korean officials. He also said there has been progress in efforts to implement UN Security Council sanctions on the North, including the expulsion of its diplomats from Bangladesh, South Africa, and Myanmar. A North Korean student who fled to the South Korean Consulate General in Hong Kong in July has reportedly arrived in South Korea after around a 2-month hideout. Citing diplomatic sources, Hong Kong's FactWire news agency reported Wednesday that the 18-year-old male student who was seeking political asylum left Hong Kong late last week. The North Korean teenager entered the South through a third country on the same day. The student was one of the North's official delegation to the International Mathematical Olympiad at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Seoul's Foreign Ministry declined to confirm the latest report, citing the safety of the defector and diplomatic ties with relevant countries. Korea is undergoing a rapid demographic transformation. Due to fewer marriages and childbirths, the population is graying fast. So what kind of impact could this have down the road, and what is the government doing to try and reverse the trend? Kim Ji-yeon reports.
Data show new marriages and childbirths in Korea have fallen to a new record low. According to Statistics Korea, in the first 7 months of the year, 165,000 couples tied the knot, a drop of 8% from the same time last year. In July, the decline was even steeper at 10%. Accompanying the fall in marriages was a new record low number of births. Fewer than 250,000 babies were born between January and July, a near 6% fall from the same period a year earlier. And as Korean society ages, the number of deaths has increased slightly by about 0.1% to 164,000. A local expert says government policy should be directed toward improving society's structural factors to tackle the socio-economic issues arising from the rapidly aging and shrinking population.
Despite a falling number of enrolled students, advanced countries have actually added teachers, emphasizing the importance of high-quality education through vast investments on that front. This is later shown to have made an impact in boosting the country's productivity despite their continued low birth rates.
The expert adds for tangible results, the government should be tackling the soaring costs of private education and housing rather than its current emphasis on increasing support for childcare. In Korea, the demand for education is met by private spending to the tune of $8 billion a year and rising. That's a cost that couples have to consider when deciding to start a family. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
The timing could not be better for Arirang TV to launch in the United Kingdom as the Korean wave is riding high in Britain. A number of Korean cultural events have been taking place across the country, and our Kwon Jang-ho files this report from London.
Korean culture, such as food, music and art, has taken a hold in London, and there are now traces of it throughout the city. Demand for it is such that British audiences are now seeking a deeper understanding of their experiences. I'm here at the Korean Cultural Centre, located in the heart of London. Inside, a special course is about to take place called the K-pop Academy, which aims to help young people interested in Korean culture learn more about it. Let's go take a look inside. The latest session has just started, and it's orientation week, where participants introduce themselves and talk about how they became fans of Korean culture. Over the next 10 Saturdays, these 30 participants will take part in classes and activities that aim to give them first-hand experience with different aspects of Korean culture.
Once they complete the course, these K-pop fans can be able to develop a deeper understanding of Korea and Korean culture, and from this we hope that their affinity with Korea will last a lifetime.
People in London aren't the only ones seeking a deeper understanding of Korean culture. In Oxford Oriel College, the 4th annual World Congress on Hallyu is taking place. Experts from around the world have gathered to delve into the Korean wave phenomenon and study its impact on the world.
Korean cultural products have already spread toward every countries in the world. So it is very important for us to understand what is actually behind that.
Back in London, British audiences are discovering Korean music that goes beyond K-pop. A 2-month-long concert series called the K-Music Festival is taking place, featuring music ranging from jazz to traditional. On Tuesday, it was the turn of Idiotape, a Seoul-based underground dance music band that has been creating a buzz since 2008. The London house was definitely rocking.
It was so much fun. I'm so happy that a band like this from Korea was able to come to the UK.
Really good. I thought Idiotape were fantastic. I thought they took elements of lots of classic British dance music and did it really, really well.
A rich mix of Korean cultural influences is fast developing in London and the UK, giving British audiences a better picture of all that Korea has to offer. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News, London.
And that brings us to the end of our newscast. I'll be back with more news updates at 8 a.m. Korea time, so do stay tuned, and goodbye for now.